Hi guys, how you doing? I hope well. Please support me and Jerry. Subscribe and like this video. Thank you so much. And we start. First story from Blown Up Marriage 1 and how she ruined mom's life and reputation. My parents, dad, 63 male, and mom, 60 female, have been married for 43 years. I have 6 siblings, 42, 38, 34, female, and 2, 20 and 18, male. I have been with my husband since we were 15. I got pregnant at 17, and we moved in with my parents. I gave birth to my now 22-year-old daughter. We got married at 18 shortly after. My dad's father passed shortly after our wedding and left his ranch-style house to my father. My grandparents built a house next door to my parents when they retired. My parents decided to let us live in this house camp, told us this would be my inheritance. My husband and I had no issues with this. We went on to have a 20 male, 14 female, 5 female, and I'm currently 7 months pregnant with my last child, a boy, due in April. I thought I had a good marriage. We were intimate more than twice a week. We went on date nights. We bought each other gifts. We didn't fight. My entire world was shattered on New Year's Eve when I returned early from a girls' trip I had taken with some friends. I walked into my bedroom to find my mom having sex with my husband. My mother screamed at me to get out of their bedroom, which really shook me up even more. Unfortunately, my oldest daughter was also home in her bedroom across the house getting ready for a party. She ran out and witnessed my all but a bedsheet naked mother run out of our house next door to her house and slam the door. My daughter was devastated and went to my sister's house. I asked her not to say anything until I first talked to my husband. I asked him for the truth. He told me that my mom seduced him in living in their house. They'd been having unprotected sex at least once a month for longer than we were married. I ran the math and was horrified, because the timeline meant my twin brothers and youngest brother could be my husband's. I immediately called my dad and told him to come to my house without my mom. I made my husband confess, and my dad was devastated. He and my mom were high school sweethearts too. Needless to say, we could hear my mother screaming from her house when he confronted her. I then told my older sister, and she and I decided to have her throw a party for the whole extended family, and we invited my ex's family as well. At the party, I had my 22 daughter take all the kids to our basement and put on a movie, leaving only the adult children and siblings, and I told them exactly what they'd been doing. Most of the family is on my side, except my 3 youngest siblings, 38, female sister, ex's entire family. They all say I'm a jerk for dropping this publicly. Word got out, and my mom's best friend, who is on leadership at my mom's church, my childhood church, called me to verify. My mom has since been let go as the children's pastor there, and she claims I've essentially ruined her reputation and life. My dad kicked her out, and she's now living with my 38 female sister. And lastly, my dad insisted on a DNA test for the 3 youngest boys before he'd consider anything to do with their marriage. The twins are my husband's bio children. I've since kicked him out, and he's living with his parents. My father and I are discussing me moving into his much larger house, and him selling my grandfather's house, and him giving me the money to buy a new house somewhere else to get rid of the memories. My husband is appalled and furious that I proved he actually is about to have 7 kids instead of 5, that I'm going to be taking half his business away from him. My husband started his own HVAC company a few years back, and for the first 5 years, I helped him get it set up, ran the office completely, and took time away from my teaching career to help him get this established. In my state, all marital assets, including businesses, are split 50-50. Since the house was still in my father's name, my husband will get no money from the sale. Neither will my mother, since inherited assets are not subject to be split in divorces. My mother is also likely to not get any alimony, as our state is not a no-fault divorce state. I'm now over a month removed, still extremely bitter and angry at my mother, especially at her hypocrisy of calling me an escort and shaming my family when she's done much worse. I also despise my ex with everything within me now, as he was damn both my mom and me in some instances, coming to our bed minutes later. He got my mother pregnant less than a week after getting me pregnant, and while I thought it was so cute and fun that I shared a pregnancy experience with my mom, she was carrying my children's half-siblings. He has broken all trust I had in men and being faithful. I have already procured a good lawyer from the firm that helped us in financial matters for both me and my dad is helping pay for it. My twin brothers, one of my sisters, and my entire ex's family have gone no contact with me and my minor children, and my children have essentially lost all of their grandparents, but my dad, 2 uncles, and an aunt on my side, and my husband's 3 brothers, due to this mess. I've also developed ulcers and digestive issues because of this, so I'm visiting the doctor soon, and I've been in therapy since the first week of January. I've offered this for my 2 adult children if they need family therapy with all of us, but they're doing individual therapy right now. My 14-year-old knows that we're getting divorced, and why, and she's so angry at her dad that I struggle sending her to his house on the weekends. I feel like she's old enough to make a decision on that, but I don't want to damage her relationship with her dad. I've told all my kids it's okay to love their dad, even if he hurt me, but the oldest 2 have cut him off 100%. I won't tell my youngest 2 until they're teens why we got divorced, and everyone else has agreed to not spill anything until they're old enough to understand. As for how I had no idea this affair was ongoing, my husband confirmed to me that they would have sex at my mom's office at church, in their cars, at a motel, and when we built the business, they started having it routinely in his office, once I went back to teaching. They also had it in our houses too when my father would go away on business trips or I'd be out of town. It was pure happenstance that I came home a day early from a trip because I was uncomfortable from being nearly 7 months pregnant and just wanted my own bed, for me to find out. Knowing they'd be carrying on this full-blown affair still if I hadn't caught them is what I'm still upset about. The fact that the grandmother and father of my children cared so little about destroying our families is what I can't get past. What's hardest for me is that my own mother would do this to me, and would continue to do this for years, and not caring when it all blew up in her face that she would be destroying her entire family. To add insult to injury, my husband confirmed in one of our mediated conversations the affair started when I apparently made him angry. He didn't tell me, and instead vented to my mom when they were alone. She comforted him and they had sex. He loved it, and then pursued her after that. He said he would have divorced me, but knew he'd get cut off from her, and she was so much better at sex than me, so stuck it out with me. He told me I was a placeholder. Of all the betrayal and low blows, that statement is what keeps me up at night. Update 1. I tried hard to go the route of a mediated divorce, but my ex told me yesterday through his lawyers that he doesn't believe that the baby I'm carrying is his, and he wants a DNA test as soon as he's born because he doesn't want to support a child that isn't his. He also believes I routinely cheated on him through our marriage and that I knew about his ongoing affair and used that as my excuse to have my own affairs. None of that is true, but I kind of wish it was, because it would make the divorce easier. My lawyer basically told me to get ready for a long, drawn-out, brutal, contested divorce, and that my ex is likely going to try every underhanded tactic in the book to make my life even more miserable. Update 2. My twin brothers look like my egg donor side of the family. They look very close to my uncle and grandfather. They clearly don't look like my dad at all, but they also don't resemble my husband much either. My son looks my STBX, and he's the only child that you can visibly tell is his kid, although my 14F daughter has his nose and jaw shape. I was definitely enraged the day everything went down, but my dad talked me off the murder ledge and reminded me that I needed to think of my baby and my other kids before I do something that would remove both of their parents from their lives. That is what spared them. I still lived in a rage fog for the next few days, which is what led to the revenge party. I only regret not telling my brothers privately that my egg donor had been cheating. I honestly don't know all the reasons my sister is on my egg donor's side. She doesn't get along with me or my sisters, and hasn't since high school. I'm not that worried about her. My twin brothers are upset that I sprung the news publicly. That is what my dad has gotten out of them. They are also in therapy, and my dad has told me to just give them time. He thinks it's just them killing the messenger. I did not tell them the possibility that my ex was their dad. But they can do math and figured out that they're the same age as my son, and he's younger than the length of the affair. My dad sat them down and explained his reasoning for the DNA test was to prove cheating, and not because he was going to abandon them. He is their dad. I don't believe that my egg donor and step-brother-in-law waited until he was 18, but at this point, I'm letting my dad fight that fight, and letting him do what he needs to when dealing with her and their divorce. I have contingency plans ready to enact in the event they decide to move in together, but my lawyer doesn't believe my ex is stupid enough to do that with the divorce proceedings turning ugly. My husband is 4 months younger than me. My birthday is in December, and his is April. He will be 40 soon. We were in the same graduating class all through school from kindergarten through high school. Update 3. I had a phone conversation with my aunt today, my egg donor's sister, and she told me there is a family history of cheating in our family on their side of the family. My grandma cheated on my grandpa for years, but they reconciled. My aunt herself had multiple emotional affairs, but is still married to my uncle. She tried blaming genetics on my mom's affair. I laughed out loud at the absurdity of that attempt to justify her affair, and my aunt is now mad at me for not hearing my egg donor out and her explanations for cheating. My dad and lawyer both say I should hear her out, so I'm still considering doing it right before we meet in early March to establish custody. I should mention that I asked my aunt if my mama inherited the whore gene. Which child did she pass it on to, and how did my grandma manage to pass it on to both her daughters? So that's probably why she's mad in retrospect. I've honestly lost all sympathy for cheaters after this. Final update. Ex-husband leaving the crazy mother because she was annoying. Twins are okay now and talking to dad. Sister is somewhat understanding me. Sold share of the business to ex, so no more ties. Comments. Violet Jin. Mummy said, seriously, like he's making excuses for why he did it. Doesn't matter. He made those choices. People make each other angry all the GD time. Doesn't mean me go out with someone's mom. Holy hell. He is the all-time jerk. Not my name 2012. You didn't ruin her life. She did that all on her own. I am so sorry that all happened, but you did the right things. You put their disgusting secrets in the open where both will hopefully suffer lots of consequences. Your mother is the epitome of what's wrong in churches. How dare she be anything other than completely remorseful and humbled for being a disgusting pervert to have sex in her church office? Absolutely terrible. And your husband is just as bad. I hope you know that any family or friends that still support either of them are better off out of your life. I hope you and your dad and the family that still support you all find healing in this. That is truly awful and vile. They deserve every grievance that waits for them, honestly. I have ruined my parents' lives as well, but totally different situation. However, I've learned that just because we grew up with any or both of our parents doesn't mean they're always the good-intentioned parents. It is not nice having a parent or spouse betray your trust. Next story from Available Pie 2042. If you've ever been cheated on, this revenge story is for all of us. About a year into dating my ex-boyfriend, I met his family for the first time during Thanksgiving and stayed overnight at their house. Dinner went well, and everyone was warm and welcoming. The next morning is where shit hit the fan. While he was in the shower, his phone kept buzzing with calls and texts. I glanced at the screen and saw a message that said, "Babe, I miss you," from an unsaved number. I called the number from my phone, and the woman who answered told me everything about the relationship. They met at their work, and he presented himself as single and pursued her around the same time we started dating. I was obviously devastated, but more so disgusted by this discovery, and immediately went into revenge mode. When my boyfriend came out of the shower, I acted normal. We went downstairs to greet his family for breakfast, and I discreetly brought my bags down with me. I announced to his family, "I just found out your son has been cheating on me, so I won't be staying for breakfast or any future meals." They were stunned, and he looked terrified. Luckily, we had driven separately, so I immediately left and started driving home. On the way, I got angrier and decided on one last petty move. Months earlier, I had gifted him a living and dining room set that I got for free from a friend who was moving out of state. I called a pal who has a pickup truck and asked her to meet me at his apartment. Using the key he had given me, we went inside and took back everything I had gifted him: dining table, chairs, couch, coffee table, side tables, leaving the room completely empty. I blocked him on everything, and I took so much satisfaction in knowing he's a cheater with no furniture. Oh, and me and the other woman met up for coffee to hash out details and became friends. Win-win, loser. Comments. User Big1Nerd. He lost 2 women and a whole living room in one morning, and she got a nice Thanksgiving dinner. Next said, "My cousin had a wife of 20 years who he regularly treated like shit. She was quite fiery and gave as good as she got. He cheated on her and she found out but didn't say anything. Out of the blue, she left one day, leaving him with one of everything, from furniture to toilet rolls to a knife, fork, spoon, teaspoon, and carving knife. 1 plate, bowl, and side plate, 1 coaster and table mat, 1 pint of milk, 1 slice of bread, 1 tea bag, literally 1 piece, slice, portion, etc. of everything. Once he got over it, he admitted that it was justified, well thought out, and funny. I still see her and I damn love her." User Corsasis. Oh boy, I have a similar one. I was dating my ex for 2 years and knew he had a bit of a gigolo past, but hey, the past, right? Hahaha, no, it was not. The jerk had a girlfriend for 4 years when it came out, so 2 years prior to us starting dating. His other girlfriend found out first and texted me, and we spontaneously decided to just confront him together. Beautiful moment. Originally, he denied everything towards his 4-year girlfriend, but when I, 2-year girlfriend, showed up, he just fell apart. Deservedly so. We created a full-ass timeline of when he hooked up with whom and which lies he spread when and where. And to make it even better, I knew of some hookups of his in the year prior to meeting him, when he was already dating the other girl for 1 year plus. Dumped his ass and became friends with the other girlfriend. Honestly, she's hotter than him anyways. Girls gotta stick together. From next user's story, I slept with my girlfriend's mom 2 years ago. I can't tell her because I know she'll dump me and it'll probably end her parents' marriage. So let me first just say, I'm not the one in the wrong for this, but I have to say it somewhere. It's eating me alive. 2 years ago, when I was 19, I met this woman while I was working as a personal trainer. She was in her 40s and looked like a 25-year-old. She took an interest in me and invited me out a number of times, and we had sex a few times. After one of our meetups, she said it was wrong for someone of her age to be with me because I was too young, and changed gyms. My girlfriend and I have been together for just under a year. She's amazing, and I love her so much. 2 months ago, I met her family for the first time, and it was a shock. Like, she took me to the house where I had hooked up with a woman, and I felt like I was being pranked. Before I see her mom, it hits me. I have a type, and they both fit that type, so it makes sense. I've been hooking up with a single mom, and I'm now with her daughter. Then her mom and dad pop out, and we both almost shit ourselves. I meet her parents. They've been married for 20 years. I realize I had been a married woman's boy toy. I feel incredibly ashamed. Later that week, her mom finds my number and tells me that I can never speak of what happened. She says that my girlfriend will hate me forever because I'll be the one who broke up her parents. So now I'm stuck keeping this secret. She invited me to spend Thanksgiving with her family, and since my family is 1,000 miles away, and I already told her I don't plan on going home, I don't really have an excuse to not go. So now I'm going to have to sit there at a table and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner with the woman I had an affair with, her husband, and her daughter, whom I am now in love with. I'm messed up. Comments. User Space for Time said, "They've got a type too." Next comment. The mother is actually formulating OP's relationship, telling him what he can and can't say. OP is in 2 relationships. Time to make some sacrifices and get out while he's still young. He's going to start doing things subconsciously, and his girlfriend is going to take it personally. The relationship is already over. Girlfriend will notice the awkwardness between you and her mom, and for no reason in her eyes, and she'll dig and dig until it comes out. And then, my friend, is where it'll become really bad, because you were holding out on telling her. Whatever you did before her is not her concern, and you didn't know the mom was married. So do not let the mom control the rest of your relationship with girlfriend, because believe me, it will get a lot worse. I'd talk to girlfriend and tell her what happened now, because that relationship is over. Might as well finish it now before there's more feelings or even a child together, and then shit hits the fan. And you never know. Maybe girlfriend will not blame you at all. But definitely tell her, my friend, you have done nothing wrong here, so why should you carry that tremendous amount of guilt? If the mom is hitting on personal trainers at the gym, chances are you weren't her first or last trip to the rodeo. So it was probably just a matter of time before she hooked up with her daughter's future boyfriend. Definitely her fault and not yours. Next story from user Throwaway Chosen. My dad is furious that my mom slept with other people in an open marriage he wanted. My parents got married when they were super young. My dad knocked up my mom, and their parents married them off. My grandfather was able to set up some business for my dad in a big city, and they moved here soon after my birth. My mom grew up in a conservative southern town where she was taught to be a submissive wife, and even after moving to the big city, she didn't spend much time socializing. She had no friends and never went out. My dad was only there to provide for us. He was always away on business, and he wasn't there as a husband for my mom or as a father to me. My dad made a lot of money, so we never lacked anything. Growing up, I became my mom's best friend. We would talk about everything. I pushed her to make friends and to find hobbies. After years of pushing, she started going to a nearby park and made her first friend, a gym trainer. Encouraged by her friend and me, she decided to join the gym. She met a few more people there and started having some semblance of a social life, but she still continued to tell me everything. I think my dad's new secretary gave him the idea, but he asked my mom for an open marriage almost a year ago. He told her he wasn't happy in their marriage and that she wasn't providing him with everything he wanted. My mom, who is a Christian wife, was mortified and told me about the proposal in tears. I suggested she get a divorce, but she said she didn't believe in it and she wouldn't be the one to end their marriage. As my dad pushed, I knew exactly where this would end up if my mom agreed. Her friend and I convinced her. My mom was hesitant at first, but she agreed with the condition that they would be completely transparent with each other. My dad was a middle-aged, 41, man with a belly, and my mom, 39, was an athletic woman who worked out regularly. I'm a 22-year-old woman, by the way. I don't know how my dad was so blind or what he thought would happen. I helped create online dating profiles for my mom almost 6 months ago. After getting an insane number of matches, choosing from them and chatting with them for months, my mom started hooking up with a few people. Getting all this attention has provided a massive boost to her confidence, and she seems better. My dad hooked up with his secretary almost immediately. He's had very little luck with other ladies. With their transparency thing, my mom tells him about all her hookups. A few weeks ago, my dad screamed at my mom for some minor thing. Usually, my mom would have apologized, but with her new confidence, she didn't back down. It's been constant fights the last few weeks. My dad keeps starting fights by making snide remarks about my mom's clothing or appearance. He almost even called my mom a whore, but stopped himself. I think open marriage finally sunk in. My mom told me he tried to have a conversation about stopping their open marriage, but she immediately shot it down. I think they'll split up. My dad was never there for either of us, but the thought of my parents splitting up still feels weird. I don't feel bad for my dad, but I wish he put effort into his family. I'm happy for my mom, though. Update. A few days after my previous post, my dad left our home and had a divorce served to mom in a week. My grandparents didn't know about any of this, but my dad told them when he served the divorce. He also implied to them that my mom was cheating on him. Both sets of grandparents came to our home and started berating my mom. I kept screenshots of all my parents' communications, and my mom showed them to them, and it got way worse after that. Grandparents started fighting each other, blaming each other's children for causing all this. A few days after this, my mom's old church friends came to our home. Back when my mom used to go to church, they used to look down on her for being from a small town. My mom has always been a very caring and non-judgmental person, so she disagreed with their bigotry, and they began excluding her from their activities. After she met her gym friends, my mom stopped going to church entirely. These church friends started calling my mom an escort, and she kicked them out. My mom is on a cut right now, so she has very defined abs and arms. So, along with all the normal stuff getting thrown at her, my grandparents accused her of having a man body, and she also had a lot of random transphobia thrown at her. Her trainer friend has been a great support through all this. She contacted the attorney she used for her divorce, and my mom is spending a lot of time at her house. Turns out, the business my dad is running is owned by mom. It was set up by my mom's dad in her name, so it belongs to her. I did not know this until now, and assumed that my dad owned it. The whole situation is a huge mess right now. Dad is living in some hotel, and my grandparents left yesterday after a week of fighting and trying to force my parents back together. I know there's a lot more divorce drama to come, but I hope it calms down for now. Comments. User Mowgli1992. Love it when assholes who think they can do whatever they want because they believe their partner will never leave them find out that their partner did have limits, and they just massively messed up. Jerry USA said, I'm so proud of her mom. Being a submissive Christian wife is a description of a nightmare, and I'm glad she found confidence, built an independent social life, and became fit. The dad sounds like an immature little pig. I have been amazed that my wife picked me 35 years ago, and there is not a chance that I am going to mess that up. I am continually shocked at how men continue not to see and value their relationships. Always short-sighted and self-centered when it happens. Sounds like my ex. A woman called me, told me the affair and child. She was completely baffled when I explained that everything she thought he had was actually mine, and if she could find him, she should totally get him to pay child support. Never heard from her again. I wonder why. Thank you from me and Jerry for watching. I hope you loved these stories. Don't forget to subscribe that you don't miss new video. See you!